Hey everybody, welcome back to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today I'm joined by the amazing Matthew Mansell. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So I invited Matthew to be on the show because he is founder and CEO of ATHLO, which is, this is so cool, by the way, the world's first flexible fitness and wellness marketplace. Like that is such a crazy and awesome thing that you've done.
Thanks, I appreciate that. That's super kind of you.
No, of course. So please tell me your story and what got you started.
My background is I played professional rugby for a number of years. So sport, wellness, kind of fitness has always been a big kind of cornerstone of my life. Moved back to the UK. I was playing rugby in France. Moved back to the UK, worked in finance, and kind of didn't see myself staying in that arena for forever. So I left with kind of nothing to go into. And at the time, I had a tennis membership, a gym membership, kind of multiple boutique kind of class-based memberships as well, like class packages, and just financially couldn't kind of justify or afford that expenditure. So I cancelled everything. And then just one kind of spring morning in the UK, in London, I was walking past the old tennis courts that I used to be a member of, and those courts were empty about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. And it kind of got my gray matter kind of thinking around kind of like, I guess the initial kind of concept was like redundant capacity, kind of redundant kind of times when people obviously are at work and what have you. And just fortunately, I've got friends of mine who are kind of gym owners, boutique whole gym operators and owners, and then a couple of friends of mine that previously worked for some kind of big traditional gyms in the UK, and kind of talking, I guess, with them around my initial kind of light bulb moment. It became pretty clear that, one of the biggest challenges that operators have is the churn of their members, so the amount of members that leave every year. And kind of aligned to that is kind of customer acquisition costs and those types of things. And those kind of churn rates traditionally are quite high in the industry. And at the same time, this was kind of the birth and the growth of businesses in the market like ClassPass and others that were kind of expanding globally and stuff. And kind of hearing from friends of mine, as I said, that were gym owners and boutique owners around the challenges of that type of model. We kind of in hand, I can't take full credit myself, but in hand with kind of my friends and my initial idea, we kind of came up with what is now ATHLO, which is a platform which allows you to kind of buy access without a membership, without a subscription through ATHLO. So you can kind of have your own stackable wellness routine, depending on your budget, depending on your lifestyle, all those types of things. And then also as well, we have this resale functionality, which is obviously unique to us, where with select partners of ours, you're able to sell your unused classes or gym days. So very similar to, I guess, kind of Airbnb. It's a bit cliche, but the easiest way to explain it is that. So if you're working out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so your gym membership's not being used Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can pre-populate those days. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday within the app. And you list those within the app, and then obviously our user base comes in and purchases off you. So you get a percentage of your money back, but then you also get this kind of flexibility to, if your gym membership doesn't have Reformer Pilates, or it doesn't have recovery facilities or wellness facilities, all those types of things, you can utilize ATHLO to kind of supplement your gym membership based on your lifestyle, your budget, all those types of things.
That is so cool. It's so interesting how you almost combined the two things that you have the most experience in. Even though you didn't love finance, you sort of combined that in with your business mindset, plus obviously your fitness mindset and wanting to do something good for people and do something good for the community, and creating something as different as that, which I haven't seen before, to be honest. What kind of challenges kind of came along with that?
It's a good question. I think you're always facing challenges as a business owner, so it's not kind of one issue and then everything is kind of smooth sailing after that. I think one of our biggest challenges as a business has been within the industry. There's a lot of different booking systems. So different gyms will use different booking systems as their kind of booking platform. And COVID was a bit of a kind of a change within the market. So there was a booking system that kind of owned a large majority of the market share. And then obviously with COVID, people gyms specifically and boutique operators financially couldn't kind of justify that type of expenditure, and what happened, and market being disrupted because of market conditions and what have you. But a lot of kind of smaller independent booking systems started to come through into the industry, which is great. But I think the challenge for us was that there became a lot of different booking systems that penetrated a lot of different gyms. So it wasn't a simple process whereby we integrated with a booking system and we kind of had access to the full market, um, which obviously was challenging. And we raised our money kind of during COVID. So coming out of COVID, the market had changed quite a lot just from an integration standpoint. So that I guess was kind of the biggest challenge to date. And the way we've kind of worked around that is, I guess, guerrilla tacting as much as we possibly can as a young business. It's really, really important that you try and solve problems by justifying how to solve that rather than kind of going kind of head in, full steam ahead into something and actually that kind of not working and investing resources and capital and all those types of things. So we tested a whole bunch of different kind of systems. And just bizarrely enough, I listened to a podcast about the growth of Instacart in the US. And one of the challenges they had, I think it was on the Y Combinator podcast, and one of the challenges they had was around integrations when they set up and initially set up. And the way that they resolved that is they tried to get an integration, I believe, but couldn't kind of facilitate it for whatever reason. So what they did is they actually went into Trader Joe's, which was one of the businesses that they wanted to work with. And they went in and they bought one item off the shelves in the shop. So every single item, they bought one item of everything in Trader Joe's, took it back to their kind of office base, professionally photographed it, and then put it up on their app or website. And then as soon as a user came in and purchased something at Trader Joe's, they manually went in and actually purchased that item on behalf of the user and then shipped it to them. And by doing
Hmm.
that, one, they justified kind of approaching Trader Joe's to be able to integrate with them. But also, two, is they solved the demand that they were having from their users. So we've done something very similar as a business around not all the gyms that are on ATHLO are kind of partnered with us. But what we do is we make kind of a booking concierge style for our users at those locations. So with those locations, we don't offer the resale functionality because there's no integration kind of official partnership, but it means that we're servicing a demand, and we've got a lot of data from stuff that we've reached out to our users and user interviews and stuff around kind of what gyms do you want, how can we improve the products, how do we get you to use the products more and stuff. And it was really, really clear that our users wanted more inventory because the comparison was obviously these kind of large businesses like ClassPass. So it was important for us to kind of grow that inventory as quickly and as swiftly as we possibly could. So it's meant, I guess, kind of guerrilla tacticking where we can and trying to be smart with kind of where we put our resources and attention and capital.
It's really interesting how you actually took the time to learn from another business on like how did they do it? How can you integrate that into your model? It's always important to like listen to feedback and to see where else, essentially teaching yourself, right, along the way. What are the best things that you can do to bring that into your company? And it's really cool that you have shown kind of the flexibility of like, okay, we can try this tactic, but like we need to, as you said, justify doing this tactic and seeing if that works. Okay, what else can we do now? So I love the fact that you're showing this message of like you're constantly learning as an entrepreneur and you're also open to failure. But it's like, okay, now that we know this didn't work, what will the next step be where we don't spend too much of our money, but at the same time there may actually be a better kind of return on investment, so to speak. And being obviously in a position and in a market that you're in right now, like there's gyms everywhere, memberships everywhere, like so many platforms popping up everywhere. Is there any kind of experience or moment where you were like, wow, this is really good, or wow, this is like successful, or just something that made an impact on you?
Yeah, I think like that first couple of bookings that come in, when you first go live, I think they're pretty special. You remember those users' names. I certainly do. So I think, kind of circling back to what you said, I think it's really important that people like you kind of leave your ego at the door. I think, when you're doing something that kind of hasn't been done before in an industry, or you're trying to disrupt a market and stuff, you think you go in with kind of like the full picture of everything, and then you kind of, you get beneath the surface, you're like, okay, there's more to this than, we possibly anticipated. So I think it's really important to kind of leave your ego at the door, be super humble, and just lean on advisors, investors, friends that work in the industry, friends that have got startups, and just surround yourself with people that, you're the dumbest in the room. You want to surround yourself with people that are far smarter than you in finance or in tech or whatever. My background isn't tech, so it's really, really important that you come in and just, park your ego and just kind of accept that you're going to be learning kind of as you go, which I think is kind of part of the reason why, I think the journey's been for me so far is, I mean, look, it's up and down, obviously, because it's a startup and a young business. But, if you embrace those bad times as much as you embrace the good times, I think there's more learnings in those moments. And there's that cliche, you learn more in failure than you do in success. But I do think it's really, really important that young businesses and kind of founders in the C-suite staff in those companies kind of really embrace that mentality. And I've just been super lucky with the team that we have. You know, like, yeah, they're worth their weight in gold to me. They've been incredible and continue to be great. So yeah.
Nice. You know exactly how to sell it to me, even though it's the first time I've ever even heard of this concept. I feel like the passion that you have for what you do really comes through what you're saying, and you're saying this from the heart. You're not saying it because it's, scripted. You're not saying it because you've had to memorize anything. You're saying it because you, as Matt, you truly believe and want to see the success of this business, not just for you, but also for the people around you, right? That's everyone else's time and energy as well spent on this. So it's beautiful how you've almost created like a family element to this.
I'm super passionate about wellness and fitness, like personally, and how, like Athlo was born out of kind of ch- solving the challenges that gyms have, but also at the same time providing the same value proposition for users that they expect and that they want. And if we can lower the barrier to entry, hopefully for our users to try different classes, to get moving, to get exercising, to try, a sauna or a cold water therapy for the first time, then, that like really drives me. Um, and I think it's really important. I spend most of my days working, so it's really important that you spend that time with colleagues that you value, not just, from a professional standpoint, but that, support you and drive you and hold you accountable and question your decision making. It's really important for me personally. That's the environment that I want to build, and the company that I want to continue to grow and expand. And I've been super excited. I think just before we went live, we were chatting about the UAE and stuff. And we launched originally in London, um, and we've made the decision and expanded into the UAE, which is incredible. Um,
Nice.
and I can't like explain how incredible that experience has been over the last couple of months. Basing myself in the UAE, and also the fitness industry and the community that is in the UAE is really unique, because I think you have this melting pot of a lot of expats, right? Where everyone's been in your shoes before. They've been, the first week, or, looking where the gym is, or not knowing what restaurants to go to, and not knowing where to buy a car, and all of these like things. And there's this really unique kind of support system. And I've kind of been super fortunate. One of my cornerstone investors is a local Emirati, so he's been like unbelievably supportive. But also my friendship group as well that I've made, just everyone's wanting to help everyone and lift everyone up. And that's been, as a founder, that's been hugely impactful for me. And I'm not saying London isn't like that, but the British mentality can be slightly different, being polite, putting it politely. Uh, so it's been an incredible kind of last couple of months. And we soft launched obviously Athlo in the UAE kind of middle of July. And then our hard launch is in October. So yeah, super excited. Thank you. So yeah.
Awesome. So where can people kind of interact with Athlon? Is it through Athlo, sorry, through the app or
Yeah,
website or
yeah, so we have a website. We're just app-based because of what the product is kind of, easy accessible. And, you can kind of search location, kind of type of workouts, all those types of things. We're iOS at the moment, we'll be Android, hopefully in not too long. So yeah, go to download us. You can download us via the website, or you can go into the App Store and type in Athlo. So yeah, whoever's listening, please download us and get using us.
awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Matt. I've learned so much from listening to your amazing story, and I'm about to go look it up right now, sign up, see what I can do, and definitely
Please
take
do
it from
it.
there.
Yeah, for sure. And any feedback, please, you've got my email address, so please, we're always wanting to learn and get some critical feedback. So yeah,
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show
yeah.
today.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.